Everyone's seen photos of space before, but I decided to explore it for myself. I got these helium tanks, and the plan was to put all this helium inside of this huge weather balloon. This weather balloon was so big that it fits 2 entire tanks of helium. I'm gonna be sending this package up with 3 cameras and a tracker inside to make sure we get the footage back. The cameras are attached to a parachute which is attached to the balloon, so once the balloon pops, my cameras will come safely down once the parachute deploys. It was now time for my cameras to leave this world. After letting it go, I was shocked at how fast it was going up. It was so cool to see it travel throughout the sky, and within just a couple minutes, it was unseeable to the human eye. I plugged in all the launch details and got coordinates to the estimated drop zone. I got in my car and we were ready to start following the balloon. We followed it for as long as we could until the balloon got too high and we lost connection. While we waited for the tracker to regain connection, we started heading towards the estimated drop zone. After we arrived, the balloon should have already dropped, giving us connection to the trackers, but the worst part is no tracker was updating. The tracker finally updated about an hour after we arrived. It updated almost 2 hours farther, which means this thing traveled way farther than expected. This was taking us to the middle of nowhere. At this point, we were completely off-roading. This is when things got really bad because the sand got thick and my truck got stuck in the middle of nowhere with not a person in sight or any cell reception. Luckily, we had a drone, so we flew it around and found someone camping a few miles away. After walking to them, they came to our rescue and got the truck unstuck. After hearing our story, they wanted to help us find this, so they drove us to the coordinate. Tracker last updated hours ago, showing it going 18 miles per hour, which means it could be anywhere around the desert. It was starting to get dark and we didn't find it, so we had to call it a day. Our new desert friends were determined to help us find this balloon, so they towed us out of the desert and told us to come back the next morning and we'd have an entire day to search for it. We ended up being so far that we got a hotel in a different state. The next morning we were ready to find this thing, and the only difference is this time we had an entire search party willing to help us find this. The tracker never updated after last showing it traveling 18 miles per hour, which means it could have landed anywhere in the middle of this desert. We all split up into different cars and started searching throughout the desert for the entire day. At this point, the sun started going down, we called off the search, and I'd lost all hope. And that's when this happened. There's no way! One of the families found the package on the side of the mountain and decided to surprise me when we all met back up. I was so shocked at the fact that we actually retrieved the camera. That's when we decided to go through the footage, and it was looking crazy. Let me show you guys. You can see it starting off right where we launched it and how fast it was starting to go into the sky. Then it was starting to go up through the clouds, and before we knew it, it was stuck in the middle of the clouds. Once it made it above the clouds, it was starting to look super pretty, and we also have another angle showing the top of the balloon. It kept getting higher and higher, and before we knew it, it was well above the clouds. I knew how cold it was going to get, so I put heat warmers to keep the cameras warm, but unfortunately, the camera stopped recording before it reached its max altitude. The footage still shows it getting extremely high and almost getting high enough to where you can see space, but unfortunately, it stopped recording about an hour early. Overall, this experiment was still amazing, and I'm so satisfied with these results, but I definitely want to try this again and make sure it records all the way through.